конференцията към своя край и, както знаете, повечето лекции, свързани с нея, бяха доста провокативни и доста различни от това, което всяка една конференция прави. Реално погледнато, финалната лекция е нещо изключително трудно и трябваше програмата, така както върви, да завърши по някакъв начин. И търсих някой, който иска да разкаже за това как реално погледнато може да ръководим себе си. Защото, мисля, трябва ли някой въобще да ръководи? И много дълго мислех кой да бъде този лектор и затова се спрях на някой, който не е от България. Защото трябва да чуем и някой, който е с друг майндсет. От другаде. И много исках да е някой, който е PhD. Много исках. И те не са много хората в България с това нещо, а и страшно добри неща правят хората в офиса, който Ричард води. И когато правиш някакъв такъв продукт, който ще промени съдбите на адски много хора, значи не си случайен човек. Така че давам думата на последния лектор. Надявам се завършиха да бъде добър за вас и след малко да се видим на томболата. Ричард, the stage is yours.
Здравейте, аз съм Ричард, говоря малко развален български. Хайде да говорим на английски. Thank you. So it's a great pleasure to be here at DevBG All-in-One today. And when I was invited to speak, my first question was, why me? And so there were three reasons that they invited me. Number one is they wanted somebody with a foreign perspective. You might have worked out from my broken Bulgarian that I'm not Bulgarian, I'm actually from the UK. I'm from a place called Worcestershire, which is always a challenge to pronounce. And I grew up in Worcestershire. I went to university in Birmingham, so tick, I've got a foreign perspective. The second thing they wanted was somebody who works for a product company. So I work for Ocado. Ocado is taking the largest retailers in the world online, using autonomous vehicles, machine learning. And I've worked for Ocado for nearly 10 years now. I started off as a software developer, then a development manager. So that's a little bit of my background. And they wanted somebody with some knowledge of Bulgaria. So I've been in Bulgaria for nearly 4 years now, setting up the software development center here for Ocado, working on the things that I just showed 2 slides earlier. So this gives you a little bit of a picture. And they said to me, we'd like you to predict the future. So here's my attempt. And this is that I believe that leading yourself with grit to grow new and existing skills is critical in a future of AI and biotech. And this is what we're going to go through in the next sort of 15 minutes or so. We're going to talk a little bit about the background AI and biotech. We're going to talk a little bit about grit and growing new and existing skills, and pull this all together into leading yourself. So let's kick off with the AI and biotech. If we go back to 1800, you're a farmer. Your parents were farmers. You're thinking of a career for your children. You're thinking farming. 1850 looks pretty much like 1800. The world's not going to change much. Tomorrow is going to be pretty much like today. But with AI, we might not know what the impact of AI is going to be, but we know it's going to impact us. We know it's going to cause things to change. And this means that we're going to have to keep up. We're going to have to grow new skills, just as we did when we learned to fly planes or write software. And if we combine this with us living longer, so biotech, there's predictions already that the first person who is going to live to be 150 years old is alive today. Some people think we could live to be 1,000 years old. So when we've got the change brought about by AI, combined with the longer lives brought by biotech, I think this guarantees that we're going to have to change more often than we ever have done in the past. So this is a quote by a historian, and this is, to keep up with the world of 2050, you will need to do more than merely invent new ideas and products. Above all, you will need to reinvent yourself again and again. And so this, to me, is a huge motivator for why learning and growing skills is a key aspect of what we are going to have to be doing. Let's just think about skills. Skills are to be competent in something. You know, the ability to do something successfully or efficiently. It's very easy for us to get confused between competence and confidence. Confidence is the quality of being certain of your abilities. You know, if we were completely logical human beings, then we'd expect a rather uninteresting line that says, as we grow in competence, as we grow in our ability, our confidence would go with it. We would know that we were getting better. But let's go through a little bit of an example. So when you first see a piano, you know that you can't play the piano. Then maybe you start playing the piano one-handed, two-handed. Now, you think you can play the piano. In reality, yes, you have grown some competence, but the Dunning-Kruger effect shows that we've actually not grown as much as in reality we have. And this is quite a dangerous place for us to be. We've got a couple of sayings in English. One of them is that a little learning is a dangerous thing. You know, this is where you think that you can do the plumbing and you flood the house, or maybe you think you can do the electrics and set fire to things. You know, this isn't a good place to be. But there's the other side of this, that actually we like being there. You know, ignorance is bliss. We love to not have to deal with things that we don't know about. We don't like to push ourselves in that sense. So how do we get from thinking we're a guru to actually being one? And in the case of the pianist example, then this is how do we get to being a world-class performer, going on this journey. And the key is practice. We have to put in the effort. We have to put in the time. You know, some people think, oh, I don't have time for this. It's not that you don't have time, it's that it's not a priority. And one of the key elements here is you have to prioritize your learning. So the first thing you realize then is that you don't know as much as you thought you did. And eventually you go on this journey to actually becoming a guru in something. But you've got to go through this quite challenging point when you start realizing that there is more and more to this than you first of all believed. It's a bit of a mountain that you need to climb. So how can we climb it? Well, first of all, you need to have passion. What is passion? So passion is a feeling of intense enthusiasm towards or a compelling desire for someone or something. You know what? If you're not passionate about something, you're not going anywhere. It's going to be an extremely painful, slow process. You're not going to enjoy yourself. You're not going to put in the time and the effort that you need. So you have to have passion. And the second part is you need perseverance. What's perseverance? Perseverance is to continue in a course of action without regard to discouragement, opposition, or previous failure. Passion, perseverance. Or you might say, a desire for something and to continue without discouragement. When you've got both of these things, this is when you've got grit. So, quick definition, grit, a desire to achieve something even when getting there is tough. But these aren't fixed. You're not born with a certain amount of passion or a certain amount of perseverance. These are completely within your scope to change and to adapt. So how might we do that? So here's another music example. Here are some performers on a stage. If they were just passionate about music, well, they could just play music at home. You know, why go on a tour with a bus with people that you might not even like? In cities that you never see, you just fly through. You know, why are they doing this? Well, maybe it's because there's something bigger. Maybe it's because they enjoy making people happy. Maybe it's because they enjoy sharing music. Yeah, and this is a higher level purpose. This is a feeling of having a reason for what you do. So you can definitely grow your passion by finding your purpose. What is bigger? And we can do the same on the other side as well with perseverance. If you ever want some good examples of perseverance, then just go into the Sophia Center and go to Endicott, where there are always, all day, all night, people on skateboards. Well, I should really say, most of the time off the skateboard. They've either fallen off, they've tried to do something that's not worked. But the key part is that they get back on. They try and do something. Okay, it doesn't work. They get back on the skateboard. They try it again. And this is a key point, is that they're positive. They want to keep going. So this is growing positivity, the practice of being positive or optimistic in attitude. So, perseverance with positivity, passion with purpose. You see, we've grown our grit. And this can help us through those challenging parts of learning new skills. So, how about leading yourself? Let's just think about it for a second. You know, we live in a world where we are constantly distracted. We're always being pulled in a different direction. There's always notifications, there's smartwatches, so that we're never like more than half a second away from being interrupted. It's a little bit like being a plastic bag, like floating in the ocean. You're being like pulled in all sorts of different directions. And to me, a key part of leading yourself is not to be a plastic bag floating around, but to be the captain of your own ship. You know, it's your life. Make a decision about which way you want to go. And if you use passion and purpose as your compass, then that will take you a long way. So number one, which direction do you want to head in? How are you challenging yourselves? You know, which competencies do you want to be growing so that you can actually achieve what you want to in the future? You know, it's not just about going in a particular direction, it's actually about pushing yourself as well. And how do we do that? Well, you know, we mentioned earlier about grit. You know, this is how we can push ourselves to grow those new competencies. How are we getting feedback? You know, it's all very well to say, I want to do something, I want to go in a particular direction. How do we know if we're getting any better? How do we know if we're just standing still, or worse, getting worse at something? Do we have a coach? Do we have a good leader? Do we have peers who support us? What are our sources of feedback? Who are we listening to? And finally, we set the compass in our direction of passion and purpose, but there are multiple different roads that we can take to get there. Sometimes it's good to just stop, take a second. Is this still the road that I want to be taking? If it is, then great. If it's not, what do you want to do instead? This doesn't change your passion and purpose, but it might change the route that you take to get there. And these pieces, to me, are key to you being able to lead yourself. Which direction are you heading in? Which competencies are you growing? What are your sources of feedback? And do you still want to go this way? So, at the beginning of this session, I was asked to predict the future. My prediction is that I believe leading yourself with grit to grow new and existing skills is critical in the future of AI and biotech. Here are some references for books that might be of interest to you. They'll appear on the screen for like 2 seconds, but here's a QR code with the slides. So, благодаря за вниманието и успех в томболата!
Richard, thank you for your presentation.
Okay,
It's a
thank
gift
you.
from us.
You should enjoy it.
Yeah, welcome.